Here are your final steps for finishing up your fireflies in the moonlight. First, we'll start by adding our pastel details, so the grass and the trees. For your grass, you're kind of making sort of like wispy V kind of shapes, so it's just quick movements with your pastel, and I would use a variety of the greens, and even the yellow makes a really cool appearance. So as I said, kind of a quick movement, so we're going at an angle kind of like this, and adding the variety of colors really adds depth and kind of creates that glowiness that we get from moon lit areas. Next, we'll work on those trees. So if you notice, they don't start in the same spot. One's a little higher, so the staggeredness makes it a little bit more interesting. You'll start by making a straight line, and then we'll add kind of letter Y's. Some of them will be backwards, but everything is pointing up. So remember, everything points up and our branches are not pointing down. So just like this, you will start with your black, and then we will add the brown next to it to make it look like there's light on this side, more moonlight right here. So I'm going to start about here on this one, draw a straight line going up. It's okay if it overlaps your moon, and then lines going out, and then make that Y shape. They don't have to be lined up, they can be kind of staggered. And not every single one has to have a Y. Then on one side, I'm going to pick the left side over here. I'm going to add brown on my left side, so like this one right here. You're going to overlap that black you have there. Go slow so you can do your best to stay right next to that original line. It's okay if it's not perfectly straight. So it looks like there's light coming on this side of the tree. And I'm just going to add a line there and another line there, just like that. So it makes it a little more three-dimensional. Looks like there's light coming from that side. Now we want to cut these out, and hopefully you drew big enough that they're not too challenging to cut out. Much like a previous project we did, we use what's called bubble cuts. So we're going to kind of do the same thing where we cut a bubble around it without popping the bubble. So that means we're not cutting next to our firefly just yet. We're going to cut around it. And this gets rid of a lot of this paper that gets in our way. And now that we have a bubble around it, we're going to cut very slowly next to our marker line and try not to cut any parts of our firefly off. If you make an oops and you need to create another one, no big deal. There's probably room on your sheet to make another one if you need to. So really carefully do a bubble cut and then carefully cut out all of your fireflies. When you carefully have cut them out and they're ready for gluing, we're only going to use one dot of glue, and we know that if we squeeze this glue a lot comes out, so you have to be super gentle. I would glue on top of your table just in case you're not getting extra glue on your project where you don't want it. Carefully shake it down and gently squeeze until you get a little dot right in the middle. This is usually the only time I will say only use one dot of glue, but these are very, very small. So if yours are even smaller, do even less glue. And then you get to decide where you would like to place your firefly. Anywhere you want, glue them on there. Finally, we will add the mini fireflies that are off in the distance. So you're going to use one of these to dot yellow. Not too many, get a little bit of paint on there and dot very gently so your dots aren't too big. And you're going to kind of fill it even a little bit in the grass is okay. Spread out your dots. They can overlap your moon. So it looks like there's mini fireflies off in the distance. Even if you press a little bit lighter, you'll get smaller dots too. And when you are finished, very carefully place it on the drying rack. Be careful not to bump these because they are freshly glued and they might fall off. So be very gentle. Place it on the drying rack.